This is an assumptions question. This last sentence here is the conclusion of the argument. The missing link is between time spent after school in pursuing social media and the inference that this time is not spent in engaging with intellectually challenging material. We need an answer choice that strengthens this conclusion and is also a statement that must be true for this argument to hold ground. Whether development of critical thinking skills is hampered or not hampered through other passive activities is out of the scope of the argument, and this is something that doesn't have to be true for the argument to hold ground. Answer choice B talks about opportunities alongside the after-school hours. So in simple words, this answer choice discusses the opportunities that most children have in timings other than the after school hours, and therefore this answer choice is out of the scope of the argument. This argument is about time spent after school by the children, and once again this information is not something that must be true for the argument to hold ground, so this cannot be a valid assumption. Answer choice C talks about the development of linguistic skills, whereas this argument is about critical thinking skills. So answer choice C is also out of the scope of the argument, and once again this is not something that must be true for the argument to hold ground, so this cannot be a valid assumption. Answer choice D talks about formal instruction helping children acquire critical thinking skills only to a limited extent. The argument is about time spent by children in the after-school hours pursuing social media rather than engaging with intellectually challenging material. Answer choice D talks about formal instruction. So this is out of the scope of the argument, and once again this is not something that must be true for the argument to hold ground. So this cannot be a valid assumption. Let's confirm answer choice E now. For this conclusion to hold ground that children who spend all their free time pursuing social media have less experience in critical thinking than other children have. See, less experience is the operative phrase here. Answer choice E says that children who do not spend all of their after school hours using social media spend at least a portion of that time in engaging with intellectually challenging material. Imagine this answer choice definitely strengthens the conclusion, because this means that other children spend at least some time in engaging with intellectually challenging material, and therefore these other children develop better critical thinking skills or at least have greater experience in critical thinking. And see, this information is something that must be true for the argument to hold ground. Negate this and you get that children who do not spend all of their after school hours using social media spend none of their time in engaging with intellectually challenging material. Such an information would suggest that children who spend all their free time in using social media do not engage with intellectually challenging material, but even the other children do not engage with intellectually challenging material. So answer choice E also passes the assumption negation test. Please remember, I apply the assumption negation test in these videos just for your conceptual clarity. You should not apply it every time. This consumes significant extra time. You should use this only when you are really confused. E is the correct answer choice.